Hey everyone, welcome to LOA Losers. Hey, I'm Tracy, and if you're like me, I'm an LOA loser. And what does that mean? It means basically that I had a focus and a determination to use LOA to create my ideal scene. And for the longest time, just kept living the same old caca and not getting the results I wanted. So we're here to have a conversation about those things that keep us in the same old caca and learn the deeper truths of LOA. So here is my amiga Lydia, breakthrough specialist. Woo!
Here I am. Exciting to be here with you in this video. I just love being here with you and just talk about what's coming through. And what's coming through today, my dear Tracy?
Well, this week some things came up about judgment and self-judge. And anytime audience, it's like you got some judgment going on about things going around you or other people. It's mirroring to you self-judgment. And I bet, Lydia, when you're working with your clients, that comes up well, maybe often or occasionally about self-judgment.
Yes. And we can see it is amazing how easy we can see, like when we are not like in the middle of, let's call it a storm or play, when we are like as an spectator, it is very easy to perceive that you are like going into so much judgment towards your family or circumstances or co-workers or people or your actions, or you're judging yourself. It is very easy to see it, to perceive it, like, as you say, like in my students or clients. But we all do that, right?
Yes, we do.
I'm, it's like I was so used to do that, particularly to do it to myself, the self-judgment, like that little voice that is
Mm-hmm.
behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
The one that this.
yes. That is calling you, you're a loser. You're a loser, baby. So, yes.
Listen, baby.
So why don't you kill me? Yes.
Yeah, and there's no judgment against that, everybody, because
No.
that's just fun, just having fun and making fun of ourselves for, well, even self-judging. How can we like lighten up about judging ourselves? We don't have to take this so serious
Mm.
and dive down into a deep hole of despair trying to find out why we judge ourselves. It We could just get through it now and move on and find tools that help us, like, it's all about self-love, don't you think, Lydia? It's like, once you love yourself, how can you judge yourself?
Exactly, exactly. And uh yes, just give me one moment because it's like I need more battery in my computer. So yes, and this is very huge because I like to share with my beautiful audience that for me, like 2022, we're talking like pretty much in less than, it was less than 2 years ago. I mean, even though I was like helping people, helping students, helping people, I didn't realize, because again, it is in the background. It is like unconsciously, I was judging myself. So thanks to physical reality, because as we know, it's a mirror, and it started to reflect back to me like circumstances that made me realize that, Lydia, you need to take care of yourself. So the moment that I started to really taking care of myself, really loving myself, really understanding what true love is, true love was, true love is to me, for me, then I started to realize it was like everything started to show up that I was judging myself. Because again, it is like behind the scenes, everything. And for example, right now that I was plugging my computer because it was low in battery, typically my Lydia from 2 years ago, I would have been like, oh, Lydia, how can you do that you're recording a show? Why didn't you take care of that like priorly? I mean, the voice. So right now it's like, I can say that thanks to that decision that I took to really love myself, I realized that I was judging Lydia, right? That I was judging myself in my every action, in my makeup, in preparing the meals, in the way that I was approaching my friends, or the way that I was, even the way that I was like providing assistance for my students or clients. I was judging myself. But I wasn't aware. The point in here again is that I wasn't aware, and perhaps some of you, my beautiful audience, are in the same situation that, oh my gosh, yeah, perhaps this resonates with you that no, I'm not judging myself. but I mean, the invitation is to explore more within, right?
Yes, because even that story, ditto. And you know what? I still do it. I still do it. I have a thing going on about like, I like everything perfect. And so if it doesn't go perfect, it's like I'll jump into judgment right off, like this isn't good enough. And when this isn't good enough, that isn't good enough. And I'm thinking that probably self-judgment is about too, is that you've always got to be you're a certain level of good enough. It's like you're thinking you're not good enough yet. And the love thing that you brought up, I think it's important audience to know that it's like you won't judge yourself when you stop conditionally loving yourself also, because when you get conditions on love, which by the way, all of us have learned that it's just that there's been generations of generations, no blame in society and everything, that it's like, oh, well, if you behave this way, we love you,
Yes.
So that causes a feedback loop of judgment too. Like, I need to be this way and you're not good. And I need, like you said, why didn't I think about that? I'll do that too. I'll do something in the kitchen and I'll go, why didn't I do that differently? And the good news is for me, and maybe audiences will help you, is that it was such a chronic habit before that now I can catch myself at least and say, this is ridiculous, and stop, so that's something to do. The audience is like, start paying attention to when you're giving yourself a hard time and you're judging you. And if you're judging somebody else, that's a real big clue that you're doing it to yourself too. And the wonderful thing about it is when you stop doing it to yourself so much, you won't be judging the world either.
That's
which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this beautiful feeling of compassion starts to flourish. And this beautiful feeling of understanding starts to flourish. So if you, beautiful audience, ask us, how would you, if it's something that we are practicing unconsciously, how would you notice that it is very simple? Your body is talking to you. For me, and typically for a lot of people, when we are judging ourselves, we can feel like neck or shoulders pain or lower back pain. So typically that is a sign that we are judging ourselves, because it's like, you're not good enough. You're not doing this well. No, you cannot do it. How come you cannot do it? It's like that ego that is judging us is sending those unconscious thoughts, and our body starts like contracting, like very subtle, but to the point that it's like, oh my gosh, I cannot handle my shoulder pain or my neck pain or lower back pain. So typically that is a sign. Okay. So if you happen to have one of those pains, and disclaimer, I am not a doctor. Tracy, you're not as
Yeah.
well, right? This is a disclaimer. So it is just based on experience, based on the research of other doctors, or and the research of this, because I have this book. Perhaps you have it as well, my dear Tracy, but the research that Yvette Rose does or did in this book, in which, I mean, and she is a doctor, so I've learned from her this stuff, and yes, I mean, typically it is that way. And in my case, and other people, is like, okay, I have shoulder pain, lower back pain issues. And the moment that you start to clear that out, yes, I'm judging myself because I feel that I'm not good enough or not worthy. That energy starts to release, to go away. And you start like, oh, now I can turn around, right?
Yeah, I don't have the book, but it's an excellent book. I've heard about it, and I've seen it on the bookstore pages. But I wanted to add to that too, like for me, because again, I'm not a doctor, so but this is an experience I have that's outside of the physical body, is well, actually inside, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, is feelings like I feel like when I'm judging myself, I'm pretty much unsatisfied, so I get angry at myself,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and I can get angry at others too, of course, if I'm in judgment of others. But I'm keeping that like you said, it's like you spill something and you're in judgment of it, or you didn't have your computer plugged in and well, it would actually not, it would frustrate me and maybe even piss me off that I
Mm-hmm.
did that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's other people, maybe you cry. It's like when you do something you can't stand and you're judging. But I get upset and I get like real pissy.
Yeah, that's a powerful one as well. Yes, anger. Because it's like, and we are judging the result that we were expecting. It is not what we are perceiving, so we are mad or we are pissed off. And yeah, it is that way. And because we're judging the person, the circumstance, or ourselves. Yeah, totally.
So give yourself a break.
Yes, get a grip. Yes.
That's why
Now,
that's why Lydia calls it the breakthrough. Because she's like, give yourself a break.
give yourself a breakthrough. Now, something
right.
that, yeah, totally. Something that I've been practicing and sharing is that one tool that, because again, it is not that, okay, I know I'm judging myself. And I'm judging myself because my ego, and that is its job, is to judge. So, okay, it is not too far. And I've heard that from Bashar, and I've been practicing and suggesting it. So, don't start a fight with your ego. It is just to listen to your ego. Okay, you're judging me. Yes, you have a point, you have a belief. So, I would recommend, or what I do, and I would love to know what you do, my dear Tracy, but what I do is that, okay, I'm pissed off, or I have a neck pain, or whatever, I'm judging myself. Explore, listen to yourself. Okay, listen to yourself, like, what is my belief? What am I believing to be true in whatever, or what are my beliefs, right? To explore within without taking any further action. That's the invitation. Like, okay, I have this negative emotion. I know I'm judging myself. I know I'm judging others. And the ego is going to be like, yes, because they deserve it, or whatever. It's like, okay. You have a point.
Oh
Have a talk
gosh.
with yourself. Have a conversation with that ego. Yes, you have a point. You're totally right. But let's explore and have a conversation with your ego. What do you do, my dear Tracy, to face those judgments?
Well, the first thing when you were saying about the ego, I thought this is something you could play with the ego. You'd say, where did you learn that from? The ego. I'm sure they learned it from something because you weren't born thinking that I got to do judging yourself. When you're a baby, you're like, oh, I didn't come out of my mother correctly. It's like I don't deserve anything now. I mean, I think that's what another thing is. It's like judging yourself, like because you feel like you have. This is for me. I'm going to say maybe be perfect, or you want things to work out well for you all the time. Because why? Because we're in a society where that means that you're earning or proving that you're good enough. I'm kind of making that up, but that could be a belief about.
Yeah.
So obviously you got this part, like Lydia said, the ego that's like believes that like whatever, and it's picked it up along your physical trail.
Yeah.
And then for me, it's like too, because I think sometimes in society, it's like the more perfect you are, the better you are. The more that you've got it together. I think that's why we deify certain celebrities and sports people and everything, because oh
Yeah.
look, they did it good, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so they look at their lives now because of obviously something went right for them, So I'm there's a lot to that whole
There's
thing.
a lot. There's a lot to explore. And I love this topic because, again, it is anchored like in self-love. And and that doesn't mean that uh, we are settling for less, not at all. It is
Mm-mm.
just giving us, understanding us, like, okay, I don't need to judge myself to be good. I mean, not to be good. I don't need to judge myself to just take action, the inspired action. Because when we are in that state of inspiration, whatever we do, we're doing it accordingly to what it's needed. So I, of course, appreciate so much every time that I do something that it is inspired. It could be a video, it could be this show, it could be like being with a pleasant talk with friends. And I've been noticing, or I mean, what about you, my dear Tracy? But I've been noticing in myself that when I'm truly in the moment, taking that
So
action, right? It's like I am enjoying myself with no judgment. It is so fulfilling. And at the end, the result is going to be something fulfilled. It has to be that way. It has to be that way, right?
yes, yes. I mean, when you brought that up, it's like the here and now,
The
in the
here and
moment,
now, with
and
no judgment.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was going to say too, what I loved about when you brought up compassion, I did hear this last week, a saying that to have compassion beyond reason and beyond understanding, you
I
know,
love that.
yeah,
Beyond reason, yeah, and beyond
beyond reason.
understanding.
And that's for yourself first. We're always going to go to yourself first, everybody, because that's how
Yes.
you have compassion for others, is you have
Yes.
compassion for. And so, yeah, so judgment is a big topic. And so when we're in this conversation today, we're like going, stop it, stop judging, love yourself more. And if it was like me, it was critical habitual habit. And, you know, just be nicer to yourself in the beginning. Just be nicer to yourself. And eventually it gets better and better. That's the one thing about LOA is that
Mhm.
it builds, once you start it, it starts building more and more and more and more on top of itself.
Exactly. To wrap things up, that's why during the first episodes of LOA Loser, I we shared with you and I shared with you as well, my dear Tracy, that when we start knowing about LOA, it's like it can go counterproductive productive with ourselves because we we can be so focused on do it by the book that if we are done doing it, we are judging. So we are in the vibration of judgment and physical reality. Law of attraction, you cannot stop law of attraction. It is
And
always
that's
there.
why you become an LOA loser at that point.
I got my
Cannot
certificate,
stop.
beautiful audience. It
You
is
cannot stop
amazing.
it. And actually, I heard somebody even say in this last year that LOA, because you kind of brought it up with what you're saying, it can even seem cruel, when you're first dive into it.
Mm.
It's like, so, well, that's another topic, but
Yeah,
I
that would
didn't,
be another.
maybe cruel's too hard of a word, but it seemed like it's kind of hard on you. So, but I wanted to say that it's like, yeah, there's times when you're like, LOA is not funny.
But again, it's like what you put out, you're gonna get back. And it
Yeah,
is,
yeah, I like
remember,
that.
it is more simple, it is simpler than that. Just check the way you feel. That's it. That's it. And if you need uh someone, or I mean, express yourself, reach out for help. There's tons of groups and information out there to help us, right? So
Yes,
that's the
there it
message,
is. I mean,
that
it's everywhere.
I know that you deserve the best, that you are worthy, that you are good enough. There's nothing for you to prove,
Proof.
nothing. Just live your life, live your passion. Final words, my dear Tracy.
Just wanted to remind everybody, if you'd like to get your LOA loser certificate of achievement, just send us an email. It's in the summary or the description. LOA loser, it's spelled with a Z and a double O at gmail.com. And my last word is that it's all comes down to loving yourself and self-worth. And baby, if you are here, if you've got your certificate of achievement of LOA loser, you are on the leading edge of living your wildest dreams, because that means you've done it all. You've tried it all. It's like, so now you're ready. You're
And you're
ready.
super close. Yes.
Yes, you are. Breakthrough.
Through. Din, 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 din. Beautiful audience, have a great week and see you. See you. Now we can see you. See you soon. Ciao for now.